One of the first signs a Belgian Malinois has recalibrated its bond with you is not disobedience. It is the quiet disappearance of unsolicited affection. The dog still follows commands and still maintains position. But it no longer leans into you without invitation. Most owners miss this shift because nothing appears wrong on the surface. The Malinois remains alert, responsive, and structurally disciplined. There is no rebellion, no overt tension, no visible conflict. There is simply less warmth in the space between you. Affection in a Belgian Malinois is not automatic once trust is built. It is not sentimental or constant like it is in softer companion breeds. It is a voluntary expression tied to perceived stability. And that stability is evaluated continuously. This breed does not bond through dependency. It bonds through alignment under pressure and consistency over time. When that alignment weakens, affection retracts before obedience ever does. The dog protects clarity before it protects comfort. You may notice fewer spontaneous check-ins throughout the day. The eye contact becomes shorter and more analytical. Physical proximity is maintained only when structurally required. The softness that once appeared during stillness quietly fades. The Malinois is still present. It is still watching. It is still calculating. But it is no longer relaxing into you. This is not emotional coldness. It is assessment. The dog is recalibrating its level of vulnerability based on what it perceives in you. Belgian Malinois are acutely sensitive to emotional regulation in their handler. Subtle tension in your voice becomes data. Inconsistency in your reactions becomes data. Even minor instability in routine becomes data. When stress increases in a household, the Malinois does not panic. It tightens. It becomes more internally structured and less externally expressive. Affection requires vulnerability. Vulnerability requires trust. Trust requires predictability. If predictability weakens, affection retracts first. Many owners attempt to fix this shift by increasing physical contact. They call the dog over more often. They initiate more petting sessions. They try to recreate closeness through insistence. But affection in this breed cannot be demanded. It can only be invited through steadiness. The more you force proximity, the more the dog evaluates. A Belgian Malinois does not withdraw affection to punish. It withdraws to preserve clarity. Emotional distance becomes a stabilizing mechanism. The dog is not angry. It is cautious. There is another layer beneath this dynamic. High-drive working breeds regulate through shared mission. When engagement and purpose drop, relational warmth often follows. If mental stimulation decreases, the Malinois shifts into forward focus. It becomes task-oriented instead of relationally expressive. This is not rejection. It is redirection of energy. But the deepest driver remains nervous system alignment. The Malinois reads posture, breathing patterns, tone shifts, and micro-hesitations. What feels invisible to you is amplified to the dog. When the handler feels grounded, the Malinois softens. When the handler feels scattered, the Malinois observes. Observation replaces warmth. This is why some owners describe their dog as less affectionate during stressful life periods. The dog has not lost attachment. It has adjusted exposure. Leaning into you is a vulnerable act for this breed. It signals trust in your emotional center. If that center feels unstable, the lean disappears. What makes this dynamic confusing is that obedience often remains flawless. The Malinois continues to execute commands with precision. Structure stays intact. But structure is not the same as bond. Compliance is not the same as closeness. Warmth is always voluntary. In calm, regulated environments, the Belgian Malinois displays subtle but unmistakable affection. A quiet lean against your leg. A relaxed exhale while remaining near you. A softening of the eyes during stillness. When those signals fade, something in alignment has shifted. The powerful reality is this: affection returns the moment clarity returns. Not because you asked for it. Not because you demanded it. But because the dog decided steadiness has been restored. A Malinois that chooses to lean again has completed its evaluation. It has determined that emotional consistency is present. That decision is earned, not trained. This breed does not measure love by frequency of touch. It measures safety by consistency of presence. When presence stabilizes, warmth reappears. The withdrawal of affection is not a broken bond. It is a signal. It is the quiet language of recalibration. And when affection returns, it feels deeper. Not because it was forced, but because it was chosen again. There is a moment many Malinois owners remember clearly, even if they cannot explain it. The dog is in the same room, but it feels emotionally one step removed. It watches you without leaning toward you. It is present, but not invested. This is not indifference. Indifference looks scattered and disengaged. A recalibrating Malinois looks sharper, more contained, and slightly reserved. Containment is a form of self-protection in high-drive working breeds. When the environment feels emotionally inconsistent, the dog reduces unnecessary exposure. Affection becomes unnecessary exposure. So it disappears first. The Belgian Malinois is not built to operate in emotional fog. It thrives in clarity, direction, and measured energy. When that clarity fades, the dog compensates by tightening its internal structure. You may see increased vigilance. You may see the dog choosing observation points in the room. You may notice it scanning more frequently instead of relaxing. Relaxation is earned in this breed. It is not automatic, even in familiar homes. Relaxation happens when the dog feels the leader is emotionally settled. If your tone shifts frequently, the Malinois registers it immediately. If your reactions change day to day, it registers that too. Even subtle frustration alters the emotional landscape. This breed does not react dramatically to those shifts. It absorbs them. Then it adjusts its emotional proximity accordingly. There is also a leadership dimension beneath affection withdrawal. A Malinois bonds most deeply when it feels guided by quiet confidence. When confidence feels unstable, the dog does not rebel. It becomes self-directed. Self-direction reduces vulnerability. Vulnerability includes leaning, nudging, resting against you, and offering soft eye contact. Those behaviors require trust in your steadiness. When steadiness returns, you will not need to call the dog over. It will close the distance on its own. It will reintroduce contact without ceremony. The lean will feel natural again. The eye will soften again. The warmth will feel unforced. That is the signal that alignment has stabilized. A Belgian Malinois does not measure affection through frequency. It measures it through safety. Safety is defined by emotional regulation more than physical control. This is why harsh dominance rarely creates genuine closeness in this breed. It may create compliance. It does not create voluntary warmth. True affection in a Malinois is a quiet endorsement of your nervous system. It is the dog saying, without words, that your presence is structurally sound. That endorsement can be withdrawn when instability appears. But it can also be restored. The restoration is subtle. It happens in still moments. In quiet rooms where tension has faded. The dog shifts from observation back into relaxation. From evaluation back into trust. From distance back into chosen proximity. And when that happens, the bond feels stronger than before. Because it has been tested silently. And it has recalibrated toward you. A Belgian Malinois that leans again has made a decision. That decision carries more weight than obedience ever could. Because obedience is trained. But affection is always chosen.